Hi, everybody. You're listening to Wake Up with Patti Catter. And of course, I'm Patti Catter. Today, I am so thrilled to tell you I have Travis McVeigh on my show. Travis is a Marine Corps veteran, and I have been waiting for this day for so long. Welcome to the show,
Mhm.
Travis.
Thank you, Patty. Appreciate you having me on and giving me this forum.
Yeah, you are one of the most go-getter people that I know. And you just light up a room when you walk in. I've been to a
Well,
couple of
thank
events.
you.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of events with you there. And as soon as you walk in, just the energy just goes up.
I think it's the spirit that I represent, and like I say, that's kind of a pun since I do Heroes Vodka, but it's what it represents, and it makes me happy. It makes me go into a room and be able to talk about my friends and what we're trying to do.
That's true. I don't think anybody gets too sad when we hear vodka.
No, no, I do still cry about my friends, but I used to get mad at myself for that. But they're actually more tears of joy than they are of sadness. It's just remembering them and all that because they were the inspiration behind it. So it really, really affects me differently sometimes. I still see them in the room when I go in sometimes, I can just put them in my mind and it makes it a lot better.
Mhm. Yeah, and I want to talk about you a little bit and more about your company.
Hmm.
Tell me though first, where did you come from? How did you grow up a little bit? And then I really want to hit
Okay.
on your company and what you're doing today.
Okay. They all go together, especially my uh, early years. I grew up in a small town called Austin, Indiana. High school class of 98. My parents, dad worked at the post office. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. And then my parents divorced when I was about 12, which is not a good age. Divorce is not good at any time, but at that age, it affected me a lot. But, I kind of started partying too much, hanging out with the wrong people, and I needed some discipline in my life. So at 16, I joined the Army Reserves when you could do that. So after my junior year of high school, I went to basic training at Fort Knox, became a soldier, went back, finished my senior year of high school. After that, I went to AIT in Fort Jackson, finished up my training in the Army. But then I was in the same town, the same people, the same environment. So I was like, I got to do something different. And my brother was a Marine, and my parents always thought, the Marines were just a little bit tougher and treated him a little bit like that. I think looking back at it. So I said, well, if my brother can do it, I know I can do it. So I joined the Marine Corps. I did very well in the Marine Corps. I was a big runner in high school. I won the Junior Olympics at 13 years old. I could run a mile in 4:20. So I only weighed like 136 pounds when I joined the Marine Corps. And so then I qualified. I didn't know that, but during that time, they have a screening team from Marine Barracks, 8th and I, the White House screening team, Yankee White program. So when I was going to infantry school, they come out and they interview us. And you never know. The last minute, I was getting on a bus for my orders to security forces school, and they got me off the bus and I've been selected to Marine Barracks 8th and I. So that was a big change in my life. It actually brought a lot of things into place for my future. And so I get on a bus, I go to DC in October of 1989. President George H.W. Bush was the 41st president of the United States. The world was totally different. The Twin Towers were still standing. But it was such an honor to be there at 19 years old, be there at the White House and at Camp David and things like that. And I became friends with two other Marines there, became like brothers to me, Richard and Tommy. But unfortunately, Richard was killed as an Indiana State Trooper, and my friend Thomas was killed in Afghanistan. And that's what gave me the inspiration for Heroes Vodka. It's
Mhm.
just, my relationship with them and service and sacrifice is what I try to teach people. That's what the brand's about, service and sacrifice. I consider service and sacrifice the silent heroes of a thriving community. And that's true. A lot of us do a lot of things behind the scenes that people never know about. You know about me because I have this company, but I meet Marines, sailors, soldiers, airmen all over the place that's doing some outstanding things that just people are not aware of, but also try to be an inspiration to other people. If I can do this on a big scale, they can do it too. But luckily I was naive at the start, and I had a lot of people that knew the industry that I put myself in the same room with because you never want to be the smartest person in the room, of course. So that's when I partnered with a man named Robert Lippman. I spent 2 years learning how to make vodka. I'd take all the 50 ml bottles together, and me and my buddies would try them. The ones we liked, we would set to the side. And once a month, we'd overindulge in this to see. Was trying to find the healthiest way to drink if you're going to drink. And through that process, we found out that corn was the best ingredient to make it from. So we're 100% American corn. And what the buzzword now is gluten free. People hear that all the time. It's kind of died down a little bit, thank goodness, because everything just about in the spirits world is gluten free anyway. But the most important thing about mine's glycerin free. Glycerin is what dehydrates your body on the molecular level. So it's naturally gluten and glycerin free because it's made from corn. And I got very lucky. My business partner was a man named Robert Lippman, was the first distributor of alcohol in Tennessee, been in business since 1939, the first distributor of Jack Daniels. So, you can't tell Marine he can't do something or he's going to die trying. So I just called the guy up on the phone, cold called him, and he actually answered his phone. And he said, Travis, he said, I have 150 different vodkas in my warehouse, but since you're a veteran, I'll give you 20 minutes. So we had a meeting. I came in prepared, got a new suit, had my PowerPoint all put together. I had my trademarks, I had the juice, I had everything ready to go. And at the end of it, he was very impressed. He said, well, how much experience do you have in this industry? I said, really none. I've self-taught myself. The Marines were founded in a bar. That's about the only thing we had in common. And he was very impressed by that. He said, it's your passion is what sold me on you. And he said, I can really help you. So, and that's how we got started. He introduced me to Mark Brown, the CEO of Buffalo Trace. And the people listening, they know of Buffalo Trace because they make some of the best bourbon in the world, from Pappy Van Winkle to Weller to Blanton's and things like that. And Mark Brown told Robert, he said, I'm going to have to meet him in person first. So I drive to Louisville. I get to meet him, and he said, I see what Robert sees in you. It is your passion. So he showed me all the different bottles, all the different things you could choose from, and really helped me. And I get the buying power of Buffalo Trace. So that's what helps me be competitive in this marketplace, because a lot of guys starting out, they don't have that buying power. They don't have those relationships. So they're charging 25 to 30 to $40 a bottle when you can buy mine for $15. So it makes a big difference in that way.
Mhm.
And that's sort of a long story, but that's what generated everything was from that.
Well, I love it. And I'm not a huge drinker. I just don't like the taste of alcohol, but I've tasted your vodka and it's really good. It doesn't have like that horrible aftertaste that some of them
That
have.
aftertaste, yeah.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
yeah.
most people mix it anyway, but yeah, I wanted to make sure it's a pure enough spirit that you can make a great martini, drink it straight. So that's why our testing, when we was doing the testing, we always drink it straight just to see, because you can make vodka, mix it with anything. That's what I like about it too. And the reason I chose vodka is because it outsells all the other spirits combined. And you can make it today and sell it tomorrow. Basically, it's gender neutral and it's seasonalness. So it's the perfect product in the spirits industry. You don't have to age it like you do whiskey. And beer has all these different shelf lives and different things. So I have a lot of respect for people that does craft brewery, because it's a lot to keep up with.
Man, one of the cool things is too about your Heroes vodka is I've seen it in a lot of stores when I go
And
shopping. Where can,
yeah.
what states is it in, or where can we find a list of where people can buy it? And if it's not in their state, how can they try to advocate for that?
Oh, great question. We're working on a lot of that. As you know, when the pandemic hit, people don't realize how that fixed supply chains all over the world, especially a small veteran-owned spirits business. It affected us greatly. A lot of the small companies got bought up by the big ones, the distributors.
Mhm.
And with the three-tier system, there's a lot of laws when it goes into alcohol. So you have to get approved first for that state. You have to find a distributor. Once you sign with that distributor, you basically sign your life away. You're stuck with them, whether you like them or not. So you got to make sure you pick a good one and have someone that's going to do the business with you. But in this business, you got to do most of the work yourself. They're selling every kind of vodka, every kind of whiskey that's out there, and there are thousands of brands out there that's like that. But we're in Tennessee, Georgia, DC, Florida, gosh, Ohio, getting ready to go into Texas. But most of these will be relaunching in January. So just be a little bit patient in January. And if your store doesn't have it, just say, hey, I want you to get Heroes Vodka. You can go to our website, print out a picture, send us a note that you've been requested in your state, and we'll try to follow up with that. And that's the biggest thing you can do, is keep requesting it. Like we talked earlier before we started recording, is you know of some bars and different people, their background stories. It's veterans or it's owned by a Gold Star person. That really, really helps us. What's got us behind a little bit is, I don't know if you noticed that we got new packaging coming up. Here's
Woo,
the
I
new
didn't
packaging.
see that.
I'll show you. This is the old bottle, which I
Mhm.
do like.
I love it.
It turned out really good. We won 6 gold medals and 5 silver. But the new look is very, very clean, very fresh. Same juice, same mission, same determination to give back. We're the official spirit of a grateful nation. Now, this is a liter bottle, so when they buy it through the bars, it'll have a different back label. But in
Mhm.
the stores, you're going to get to see my face again on the back of the bottle. When you scan it, it'll have me telling the story. So you'll find those in the stores.
That is priceless. That is so great.
Yeah.
And what an amazing legacy. And I know you to have just such a sweet heart. Sorry, guys. I know that's not very Marine or manly, but you do have just such a soft heart. And you can also be hard when you have to. I get it.
Yeah.
But really, I do admire that about you. And some of the things that I see you do behind the scenes as well, that you are
Mhm.
very quiet at helping other organizations or whatnot. What's your favorite organization right now, would you say?
Well, our give back organizations with the Vodka is Team RWB with Mike Irwin. They do such an outstanding job because one of the biggest killers of veterans is isolation. They isolate themselves. You don't want to leave the house, and that leads into bad thoughts and different things. And so Team RWB gets people out. We get out, we run together, you hike together. They have all these different events throughout the year, and they have chapters throughout every city. So it's something you can get involved with. And because like the VFWs, the American Legions, they do a lot of great things too, but people have a lot of bad stereotypes. They think they're just going into a bar, but there's so much more than that now. So I encourage you to go out and get active in your VFW. They're very important for our lobby group in DC. They're very, very important for that. And Project Canine Hero is my personal organization I give back to with Jason Johnson. I think you might know Jason.
Amazing. I know I've met him along the way. I'm gonna have to have him on my show. I was just thinking that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll definitely tell him he needs to get on here. He
Yeah.
does such an outstanding job. You think I work hard? This guy is everywhere.
I don't know if you ever sleep, so I don't know about that guy.
I don't sleep very much.
Wow.
It's just,
So
yeah.
one question I do ask all of my guests on the show is
Mhm.
what trial you've had in your life and how did you overcome that trial with triumph, either business or personal
Oh,
endeavor?
you're gonna make me cry now. It was the vodka. I mean, it's losing my two friends. That was, I tear up just thinking about them now, just how good of people they were. They were true leaders, true Marines. We became from boys to men together, basically. We were 18, 19 years old when we met. And overcoming that, it just took me a lot of time, a lot of thought, lots of personal reflection to have another mission. I spent 2.5 years researching and developing this brand before we went to market. So, and it keeps me focused. It keeps me focused on my friends. That's one thing I never want to forget. That's what we talk about. I get to mention their names when I talk about them. So they'll never be forgotten. When I talk to you and I talk to other people, like you brought up the Gold Star family, I'll talk to people and they'll get that off their chest too. They get to talk about their son or their daughter, and you'll see that glint in their eye too, or it's a tear, or it's just a light that comes on in them. That's what makes it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
Sorry.
No, you got
But the
me.
brand is about
Um,
celebrating service and sacrifice. We have some sad things in life, but through tragedy, great things happen through tragedy. I can't emphasize that enough. It's our post-traumatic growth, is what I call it. Instead of post-traumatic stress, we have post-traumatic growth, and that's what makes us grow and become better people.
Man, and see, those of you listening, this is what I'm talking about, Travis. Not only are you leaving a fantastic legacy for yourself, but getting the stories out of our military, of your friends. It's very beautiful. Some
Thank
people
you.
they go by in life and just kind of skip along and might take some of the trials that they've had in their life and like you said, kind of seclude and things like that. And we are heading into the holiday season, and oftentimes it's really difficult during the holiday season for some of our veterans, some of the people out there
Hmm.
listening who may not even be a veteran but are listening to this. And one thing that you obviously did was you took that major trial and look at what triumphs you have created and what an amazing friend you are. Uh, not not many friends would go
Hmm.
above and beyond that far.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's like I say, I still have my own struggles, but each day, I have that reminder of my two friends, and all the other inspiration I get from people like Jason, from Adam, from you, and people you don't realize that you also inspire people. You get up every day and go do it. And I know we have the same. A lot of times we go through trials in life that we keep to ourselves, so we try to be too strong. You need to have that battle buddy, that person you talk to. And when I sell alcohol, so you got to be very careful with alcohol. Like I say in the military, they train you how to kill. They train you how to locate, close with, and destroy the enemy, but they don't teach you how to do certain things. So if you're angry, you're pissed off, it's not a good time to drink. you need to think about that. Can be a good thing, but also be a bad thing, just like anything else. So just be careful. I have a lot of my favorite worst customers, I call them. My friend Andrew Farr, he had a drink in 6 years. I'm very, very proud of him. So if you have a problem with alcohol, I don't want you to buy my product, period. But for the millions that don't, why not pick a veteran-owned product that gives back with every purchase? We help those that may have a problem with alcohol.
Mhm.
So that's what it's all about, is paying it forward.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up because that's a tough topic for some. I have a really good friend who's an alcoholic. However, anytime he gets a
Hmm.
chance, if he were to hear about your product, I'm positive that he would say, "Hey, you're having a New Year's Eve party and you're purchasing alcohol anyways. Go ahead and purchase my buddy's alcohol." You know? Uh,
Yeah, and you can buy it for a gift. A lot of
yeah.
people buy them for gifts for other people that do drink. So I don't want you to feel bad if you don't drink or things like that. There's other ways you can support veteran-owned brands. Just buy it, give us it a gift for retirement, for anything.
Mhm. One of the reasons I love you, right, is you're just very real. And
Well, thank you.
so, so where can people find your website or your social media?
Okay, heroesvodka.com, Heroes. It's got the two E's in it, heroesvodka.com. And then Heroes Vodka on Instagram. We're on Facebook at Heroes Vodka as well. And I just encourage you to spread the word. That's what we need more than anybody. If you're a member of the VFW, the American Legion, tell your post to carry it. Every post should be carrying this. Also, your Moose clubs, your Elks clubs, your Eagles clubs. There's all these private clubs out there that do things for veterans themselves. But the best thing you can do is support veteran-owned businesses, and we have that. I don't know if the new bottle we put, like, it looks like a coin with a veteran-owned on there,
Mhm.
so it looks really, really good. So we're very proud of that, to let people know that veterans do make a difference in the world. You think of some of the biggest brands in the world, like Hilton, Walmart, Marriott, Hyatt, Sheraton, all the Domino's, Little Caesars, were all founded by veterans. So it's just, there's a lot of inspiration out there.
Right. And not only that, to go a step further, okay, it's veteran owned, but you mentioned that it's US made, correct?
Yes, yeah, everything's made in the United States, from the glass to the top to the paper. And
Wow.
that's very hard to do nowadays, especially keeping your price points the right way. I think the glass is made in Kentucky and Indiana, two different places for the different sizes, because we have the half gallons are going back into glass. I have the handles on them and they look very nice like that. So, but yeah, and also if you're having a party, a Marine Corps birthday party, like we had here recently, all your celebrations like that, it's a great spirit to choose.
Man, I had no idea that even down to the bottle is made in the United States. I was almost afraid to bring that up. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to do that. But that,
Oh no, 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 the first model here. This big fancy bottle here, this was made in Italy, which is one of our allies. I don't mind
yeah,
supporting other, I just don't want it made in China. Other than
exactly.
that, we have
Ex-
some great allies out there that we need to support. They support us.
Mhm. Absolutely. 100% yes. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing your
Oh,
story.
you're welcome, Patty.
You are just an incredible organization or long day, an incredible business owner, entrepreneur, but not only that, an amazing friend who supports great nonprofits and
Yeah.
talks about all sorts of great things, your legacy with your friends that you have. And I appreciate you. And I know so many who know you just absolutely adore you. And
Yeah.
I, I, I congratulate you on doing so well. And I just know that you're going to
Thank you.
continue growing. And if you're out there listening and you know of a facility, a bar, whatnot, who wants alcohol, if you want to purchase this great vodka for your friends, I encourage you to do it. Like I said, I'm not a huge drinker, but I actually like the first time I tried it, I had to try it alone. I took a shot and it was,
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody, for tuning in and go to the show archives, check out some of the past shows if you haven't done so. Otherwise, I'll see you again next Friday. Thank you again, Travis.
Cheers.
Cheers.